Czerny Op is 849 number 2 features the left hand in one of the most common accompanimental patterns, the broken chord, underneath a very fun and perky right hand melody. Beginning with the left hand, whenever we have broken chords, blocking is one of the most helpful practice methods. For example, if we play the first measure, C, E, and G, as written, we will have to remember all 3 pitches instead of just the C major chord. As we go from one chord to the other, if we block, then we simply understand it as 2 position changes instead of 6 separate pitches. And so on. So if you can go through the entire 8 bars like that, you can simplify all the pitches into 4 or 5 different chords. In terms of hand position, if I play one note at a time, that means I am playing 5, 3, and 1. Oftentimes, before students have the strength to stand up on their pinky, they use the side. So as a result, we're dipping. We come up to the 3, and then when we have the thumb, we're dipping again. So even when you play a simple triad, oftentimes what we're seeing is down, up, down. Now, if we block it, we take away that possibility. We help to build the strength in the palm and to understand how to position our thumb and our wrist so there is no dipping in sound. As we move from one chord to the other, we try to maintain the same wrist, thumb, and pinky levels, so our sound is always consistent. One of the type of practices you can introduce is blocking first, and then play as written. Once that is comfortable, you can take away the blocking. Alternate between 2 chords and then add to 3, then add to 4. You can continue to do that until you can build the strength to keep your wrist at the same level throughout the passage. The second step is understanding that the left hand alone contains 2 voice parts. If we look in the music, the first note of each group is double stemmed. That means it is both a sustained bass and a moving inner voice. We try to emphasize that through 2 ways. First, rotation. When we lift our pinky above the key and then move towards the key, there's a little bit more force and a little bit more power. So the volume is a little bit louder than the rest of the notes. Now, in the overview, we talked a little bit about stabilizing 3 and 1 and just allowing your 5 to do the rotation so you understand the general movement. You can continue to do that as well throughout this etude. Now, the second thing is we're sustaining through. So by length, we're also emphasizing the first pitch. Now, you may notice that in addition to highlighting that pitch, we're also achieving a finger pedal effect. This is very useful in many of the pieces in the classical repertoire, such as Mozart's K545. The left hand in that piece is actually written as even 8th notes. If we play as is, the texture is a little bit dry. If we try to compensate by using a little bit of the foot pedal, the texture then becomes too thick and it's a little bit unclassical-like. So oftentimes what we would recommend is to have the pinky sustain through the half note pulse. This way you can have continuity while there is also flow. When we move to the 7th chords in the second half, it is not enough for us to simply rotate and sustain. In addition to that, we have to understand now the sustained pitch is a half note long. So if we simply rotate, it's actually sounding very flat and stagnant. So what we do is move towards the board. You can count with just the pinky held. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you can outline the basic gesture. Then add the notes in. You can tell that now the G goes forward and back, thus achieving a long note effect. Lastly, let's take a look at the right hand. The melody itself has a lot of staccatos and repeated notes. So if we just stay at the same place, it is very difficult for the melody to move forward or have dynamic contrast. For staccatos in general, we would recommend a height change as you increase and decrease volume. So for instance, take the E, jump high and then back. Because the amount of energy that's required to go at this height varies. We get a dynamic change. I'm exaggerating a lot of the movements to show you the dynamic contrast. Now, you might go, however, if I go up and down, then I'm still having a vertical line. That is absolutely right. At that moment, we can take a look at the left hand. Since the left hand is repeating chords, we can actually go forward and back. When we combine the two hands together, they can help each other to build phrases and to achieve a perfect blend of vertical sound and linear movement. I hope you enjoy the etude.